Hi there, we're going to continue on with the Chapter 10 text assignment. So I'm going to share my screen. Now, part 2, let's look at this vertical style using the Roman D font. Now, notice it doesn't have a specific location, so I'm just going to eyeball it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my style from standard to vertical. Now I'm going to go into the text style manager just to confirm that the vertical style is associated with the Roman D font name, I'm sorry. Remember that the styles are like individual people's names and the font is the clothes that they're wearing. You can change your shirt, it's still the same font, but it makes you look a little different. So setting that current. Starting again, make sure you use single line text, not multi-line. So it's either DT on the command shortcut or the single line button. So start point, I'm just going to pick a point in space. So I'm going to say right about here. Text height, let's default to 0.2. Rotation, notice that it's automatically set my text rotation just 270 degrees. So just hit enter. And this is all capitalized, so vertical. Notice that it starts typing vertically. When I hit enter, it goes over instead of down below using Roman D font. Enter, enter again. Pretty straightforward. And now let's look at the next one. First line centered at 3,4.2, Roman S1 style using the Roman D font 0.1 high. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to change my text style to the Roman S1. Just going to check text styles to make sure that Roman S1 is assigned to the Roman S font. Here's something to remember. In the text style dialog box under height, always leave it at 0. If you add a number here, it will lock that height in. If you leave it at 0, it will ask you the question in the command prompt. So I'm going to start with single line. Notice this is centered. So I say single line. I'm going to change my justification. And I'm going to click center. Center point is at 3.00, 4.25. So 3, 4.25. Height 0.1. Rotation 0. It's capitalized right now, so I'm going to unlock it. First line centered at 3.00, 4.25. Next line, capital Roman S1 style using Roman S font. Enter 0.100 high. Enter, enter. Okay. Pretty straightforward, but if you use multi-line text or you don't follow the precise text style and text font, it will not look the way you want it to look. Okay, now let's look at this next one. Start at 1.25, 2.75 rotation angle 20 degrees, Roman S style using Roman font 0.1. This is one of those areas where it's critical that dynamic input is turned off. That's this button, the F12 key. Make sure that's grayed out. Then I follow with the same command, single line, except it's not center justified. So I have to go back to left justification. Start point, 1.25, 2.75. Height, 0.1, rotation angle, 20 degrees. Start at 1.25. I'm not going to type in the whole thing, you will. Capitalize Roman S1 style. Enter, enter to finish. Now watch what happens if I have dynamic input on. And I go to this next one, right justified with end of first line at 5.75. So I go single line text, change my justification, go to right endpoint, 5.75, comma 3.0, height 1, angle 0. See what happens. Okay, it just starts typing normal. If you start typing and you come up at an angle, it means that you're in dynamic. I'm just going to say right justified with end of first line at 5.75, comma 3.00, Romans 1 style. Again, style versus font. 0.100. Okay, pretty straightforward. These next two, this text is aligned and this text is fit. These can be really confusing. So I'm going to run through them, hopefully slowly. Okay, so I'm just going to look at them side by side. Again, let's do a save. Single line text. Change your justification to aligned. Now, when you click align, you'll notice something that's different. Instead of saying specify endpoint or start point, it says first endpoint of text baseline. So it is 1.25, comma 2.0. This is where it's going to go wonky because dynamic input's on. So I'm just going to let it fail because the next point's at 5.75, comma 2.0. Notice it's going up at an angle. That's wrong. That's because dynamic input is on and it's measuring from the start point over and up an additional 2. So I'm going to hit escape to cancel. Repeat my command. I'm still in, let's go to justify just to make sure that it's aligned. Turn off dynamic input. Then type in your first point, 1.25, comma 2, and your second point, 5.75, comma 2, enter. And when it starts, that insert bar is huge. That's okay, just start typing. Text is aligned between 1.25, comma 2.00 and 5.75, comma 2.00. Same style as above. Now, what you will notice with aligned text is it starts out really big, and as you type, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. The height of the text shrinks depending on how wide your start and your end points are away from each other. Hit enter, enter, enter. Now notice, if I pick on these, I have 2 grips. And if I pull these 2 grips together, my text gets smaller. If I pull them apart, my text gets bigger. The text width always stays consistent. That's the purpose of the aligned text. Now I'm going to do the next one, which is justify fit. Again, it asks for the first endpoint and second endpoint. So with fit, it keeps the height the same, but it elongates or squishes the text, condenses the text. Okay, so the first point is going to be at 1.25, comma 1.5. The second point is going to be at 5.75, comma 1.5. Notice it asks me for my text height, 0.25. And I start typing. Look how wide it is. This text is fit between. As I type, the letters are the same height, but they start to squish together. 1.25, comma, 1.5, and 5.75, comma, 1.5. Height equals 0.25, same as above. Enter to finish. Save this. We'll pick up the rest in the next lesson.